Hey, this is Andy Mandel with the Mandel team over at Remax. I wanted to discuss with you guys today a couple of commonly asked questions that we hear all the time from buyers as we're getting ready to write an offer on their dream home. So there's a couple terms that I want to discuss with you and exactly what they mean so that there's never any questions. So the first term that we're going to discuss today is escrow money. So let's say, for example, you were buying a $300,000 house and getting a mortgage for $250,000. That means you have to bring $50,000 as your down payment. So the escrow money is your good faith deposit. It's held by the title company most times, and it's just to show that you're putting money down in good faith, and it goes towards your closing costs. So if your total down payment is $50,000 and you have $10,000 in escrow, at closing you have to bring the extra $40,000. The money is totally safe as long as you do what you're supposed to do within the contract. It goes towards your down payments, and the only way to lose it is if you default on the contract. This is why it's very important to work with a reputable lender to make sure that if you are getting a mortgage, they close and they close on time. That way you do not ever put your money at risk. It's very, very important. The next thing we're going to discuss is the title company. Now, the title company does all the paperwork, the behind-the-scenes legal work, and gets all the documents drawn up to make the sale official. Make sure you pick a very good and reputable title company. Real estate's a very crazy industry. A lot of things can happen between writing an offer and between closing, and you want to make sure that the title company is good and prepared to handle anything that might come up. If you need, we have a great recommendation for title companies. Just ask. We can always recommend someone to you. Title insurance. Title insurance is a one-time fee that you pay at closing, and it protects your interest in the property. So let's say, for an example, you buy a house, and then 5 years down the road, the seller's brother comes back and says, hey, I was part owner of that house. He shouldn't have sold it without me. That's what the title company does. They make sure that that seller's brother never had any claim to it, and even if he does make a claim, you're fully protected. They'll back you up in court and all that kind of stuff. So title insurance is mandatory in the state of Florida, and you should definitely get it. The next thing we're going to talk about is inspections. So typically in the contract, you'll have about 7 to 10 days, depends on what's in the contract, but you'll have what's called your inspection period. During that time, you can bring an inspector out, inspect anything you want about the house, the roof, the AC, the electrical, all that kind of stuff. On the normal contract that most realtors are using today, during your inspection period, you can back out for any reason whatsoever if the property doesn't meet the conditions that you're looking for. We try not to back out. We can always try to negotiate and fix things, but your escrow money is always safe if you just decide, hey, this isn't the right property for me. It needs way too much work, way more than I thought, and it's just not the right house anymore. Appraisals. So the appraiser is a third-party independent person, fully licensed, who the bank orders to come out and take a look at the property and give his opinion of the value. This is important. When you're writing your offer up front, you should be doing some due diligence, looking at the comparable sales and making sure that the offer you write is a fair offer and that it's going to appraise. If you have a purchase price for $300 and the appraiser says it's only worth $275, then you have to go back, you got to renegotiate and figure something out, but it could blow up the deal. But that's why it's very important to do your due diligence up front and make sure that you're writing the offer for the appropriate price for this house. The next thing I want to talk about is the loan commitment period. So this is the period within the contract. Typically, it's between 30 and 45 days for you to get all the paperwork to the lender that they require, have them do the underwriting, and say, congratulations, you are approved for a loan. It's very important to work with a very reputable lender who can get all the work done in the time frame that's required by the contract to make sure that your escrow money, is never at risk. The next thing is the closing date. This is a date on the contract that everyone agrees is when the property is going to close, when you get the keys and you can move in. In the state of Florida, this is a firm date. There are a lot of other states where it's a moving target and you get automatic extensions and stuff like that. Not here. It is a firm date that everyone agrees to be out of the house so that you can move into the house. Again, this is very important. Why you should be working with a qualified good lender is to make sure that you can close on time. You don't want to have delays. That puts your escrow money at risk, and you just, after the long drawn-out process, you just want to move in. So it's important to work with a good lender who can close you on time. Survey. So a survey company will come out sometime during the process of your home purchase, and they will sketch out the boundaries of your property line. So that way, if you ever go to put a fence on the property, you know exactly where your property ends, where your fence can be. You'll know if someone else's house is encroaching onto your property. So that's what they will give you, just a piece of paper showing you exactly where your property begins and where it ends. And that's all I got for you today. If you have any other questions about terms you may have heard that you need help explaining, give us a call. We're more than happy to explain anything to you.